Welcome everyone to this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radios, and tonight we're going to discuss Battleground, which is this Sunday. And of course, I got the Hardcore crew with me. First, he's the classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's up?
Nothing much. I can't wait to get this started. We definitely got to talk about Battlegrounds.
Absolutely. And then over at WGS TV, he's the Wrestle Gamer, Billy Boudreaux. What's up, Billy?
Has anyone seen the new Nintendo trailer for that new mini NES remix plug and play? That looks like something any classic gamer should have.
Um, yeah, actually, I've seen it, but I mean, I have the Amore, but that's another story for another time. And last and certainly not least, we have the incomparable Lance Moss. He's over at youtube.com/Lance Moss TV. Lance, what's shaking?
Nothing much. Just glad to be in the air conditioning right now. It's hotter than a bastard here.
Yeah, hey, up here in New England, we're fucking sweating our balls off. Well,
I feel bad for Andy because those guys over there have it worse than us.
Possible.
Well, let's get down to business, guys. There's a kickoff match, which is the Usos versus Breezango. Now, I'm trying to figure out if this is actually a promotion for Breezango or is this punishment for the Usos. Billy, what do you think?
I think it's punishment for us.
Is that true? You know, it's Joe. It's definitely not looking like it's going to be one of those great kickoff matches.
Absolutely, absolutely not. What I'm thinking is there somebody calling somewhere? Oh, never mind. Had a fan calling me, which is weird. Basically, you know what? Who did the Usos piss off? Maybe they got punished because of the Roman Reigns failed his test and they're giving him Breezango. You know, it's pretty bad when they got to give them this makeshift team. But on the other side of the coin, this helps Breezango become an actual legitimate team because they're taking on already a legitimate team. They'll finally break away from the golden truth and maybe move up. Yeah,
That's
think about it.
As I had my mic muted, that's really not a bad idea. I mean, we've seen these matches, the tag teams clash, and mesh together. And Breezango, believe it surprisingly, if they have to make them look as a solid team. They can't just have them come out with their own gimmicks. They have to be a solid gimmick for that to work. Lance, your thoughts?
The true winners of this will be the concession stand people.
Let's get on to the next match, and it's Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Now, as we all know, Natalya's kind of had, sour grapes over the past couple of weeks, and her target's been her friend Becky Lynch. Uh, I, this one's a coin tosser for me. Actually, it's a shit break for me. Don't get me wrong, both Natalya and Becky Lynch are great female wrestlers, but I really would like to see the storyline end at this point. If I had to make a pick, Billy, I'd have to go over to Natalya.
Why was this not a kickoff match? Why is this thing on the actual main card itself? Where was the build between Natalya and Becky Lynch? There was a very less than moderate build. There was hardly any mention of the storyline in the past couple of weeks between Natalya and Becky Lynch, and it makes it to the main card. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I wouldn't put it as a main card. It's probably one of the lower end cards, and even still, this has been going on for the past couple of weeks. If I'm not mistaken, it started up Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Joe, your thoughts?
You know, I kind of got to concur with Billy here. Match really wasn't pushed as much. Should have been a dark match in the pre-show. This really doesn't impress me at all. This is just a women's match thrown in. I would have preferred having Bayley on the main show. Something different. And you know what, guys? Let's look at the facts. We're looking at matches that have been redone to death. And I honestly think this is hopefully that they settle all their feuds with Sunday night and we can move on. I like Natalya. I like, Becky Lynch. I just think they need to do other things besides feud each other for the next couple of years.
There's literally only one stipulation that can actually change my interest in this match:
And what's that?
bra and panties.
Well, I think Brian Panties is a little bit dated, but uh, Lance, your thoughts on this match and maybe a pick?
I would not necessarily be against a Braun Panties match. I'll just throw that out there. And well, I there has been more of a build. It's just been kind of a silent build. They hadn't been mentioning it, but ever since the turn happened, okay, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but they've been beating the ever living dog shit out of each other every damn Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely. Yeah, every time there's an interaction, and it's not just words or a feud or doing shoots. This is just an actual brawl. This, again, I think this all goes about the frustration of Natalya.
And I'm going with the sexy little ass kicker herself, Miss Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm. Now, Randy Orton's going to be making his return at Battleground, where he is going to be doing the highlight reel with Chris Jericho. Now, obviously, this is some kind of a setup for SummerSlam, where he's going to be facing Brock Lesnar.
That is if the match goes forward.
Fair point. But I think, obviously, let me ask you this, Billy. What do you think is behind this whole highlight reel?
Well, if the original storyline goes as it's supposed to go, like it was billed, it was basically going to be the initial promo to start the storyline between Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar. But over the past couple of weeks, everybody's been hearing the stories of not only Brock Lesnar failing to post UFC drug tests for, I believe it was HGH, the human growth hormone, if I'm not mistaken. But not only that, but Paul Heyman's contract expired in WWE. Brock Lesnar cannot put himself over to save his life. The only reason why Brock Lesnar has the spot he has in WWE is because he had Paul Heyman to talk for him. Now with Paul Heyman completely out of the picture, I expect to see Brock Lesnar's once bright, shining star start to fade.
Well, again, we're talking about the drug test failing, and from what reports said is that he does have a breath issues, and it was a breathalyzer that he, an inhalant. Thank you. It was was that he would take, and obviously, if he took it before the match, he would not be cleared. He took his inhalant, and after the match, that's why he failed. As far as Paul Heyman, it's still 2 weeks away. Joe, you know how these things go. They got contract maneuvering, just enough to see if he can get that extra money or that extra push.
Absolutely, he's gonna wait for it's gonna be like the final time. He's gonna wait till like almost midnight before he actually signs. But let's face it, where is Paul Heyman gonna do? Yes, he has his Heyman hustle. He does other things, but you want a steady paycheck. Because right now, Paul is getting up in age. He's not really doing anything major. He needs that paycheck. Even if it's on a part-time status, he needs it. And I think without him, Brock Lesnar is not going to go far.
And I think the dogs in the background agree with you.
No, they're chasing Dixie Carter, but that's another story. Lance, your thoughts on this highlight reel with Randy Orton?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of two things. I could honestly see if Brock is going to be punished and won't make SummerSlam. I can literally see it right now. Randy Orton and Chris Jericho go back and forth, barb for barb, and then we see a RKO on Chris Jericho setting up for SummerSlam.
Well,
that's for a backup. If that happens.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I could see, Randy Orton obviously giving some of the RKO, which would be Chris Jericho. And as you said, I could definitely, if they wanted to go that way, they might do a couple of matches before SummerSlam, or we could maybe even see Brock Lesnar show up at Battleground, but reports have said that's not going to happen. So, again, let's move forward. Rusev will be defending his United States Champion against Zack Ryder. Joe, Rusev's been getting a push, but surprisingly, Zack Ryder's also getting that push.
Yeah, woo woo woo. I hate that guy. But you know what? I think this is kind of his probably payback for winning the Intercontinental title, dropping it. I think they're going to give him another push. But let's face it, guys, now with the brand split, they need to start pushing people. They're literally robbing the NXT to fill up the ranks. We need to start seeing new people go up. And Zack Ryder does have the look, he has the build. You know, if anything, I hope that he actually wins the U.S. title.
I would like to see him win it, and it really depends on who they want to push because they've been really pushing Rusev very hard. I mean, of course, the last time he had a feud was with Titus O'Neil, and I think Hornswoggle could be Titus O'Neil. But Billy, Joe made some very interesting points. Despite the actual gimmick, he has everything else. He can actually work in the ring. He has mic skills. He has charisma. But sometimes that gimmick just kind of is a big setback.
Vince McMahon loves big guys. There is no way around that. And not only that, I really don't see the United States Championship going anywhere anytime soon. I think it's in a good spot right now with Rusev. I mean, look at his initial run with the United States Championship. He had a good, solid heel run as a monster heel with that title, and he did a phenomenal job with it, losing the title to John Cena. I believe it. Last year's WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken, but he had that title for a good long while. And I think right now the United States title is good where it's at right now.
And Lance, over to you. Zack Ryder or Rusev? Which one goes over?
Rusev.
I'm gonna make a slight correction on that. Lana is the one that goes over.
No, Rusev goes over on Lana, but we don't get to watch that match.
So it's an over under.
Pretty much.
Did I just say that?
Yes, it. Well, let's move on. Miz will be defending his IC title against Darren Young. Now, guys, my head hurts when I see this Darren Young promos with Bob Backlund. I'm sorry, WWE dropped the ball with this whole storyline. They should have done that with Damian Sandow. I think the chemistry would have been so much better. But they're obviously pushing Darren Young. They want to make Darren Young quote unquote great again. So that tells me that Miz is losing the title. Billy, your thoughts?
I don't agree with you whatsoever. I think they're just pushing him just to push him for pushing's sake because they really don't have anybody else right now to push towards the Intercontinental title. Miz has been a good, solid champion, despite what a lot of people think of his gimmick and a lot of people think about his character. But I still think it's a good, solid character. And it's a good, solid gimmick. And right now, Miz is a multiple-time Intercontinental champion for a reason. WWE sees that in the guy, and I really don't see Darren Young winning the title right off the bat. Now there might be something that could happen, maybe a dirty finish, or the match ends with a disqualification or something like that, where Darren Young would possibly earn a rematch. But with a big four pay per view, right around the corner, right after this one, Battleground with SummerSlam on the way, I don't think it would be a good idea for them to have any type of major title changes. That should be a hint about the rest of my picks, though, Rick. I don't think there should be any good major title changes until SummerSlam.
And that's a fair point. And again, like I said, Joe, these two promos of these mid card guys, Darren Young and Zack Ryder, maybe they could get that push for that 1 month until SummerSlam and then eventually lose it. Um, I can see at least one of these guys getting a title, maybe another guy getting a win, but not the title. Um,
I.e., the dirty finish.
yes, exactly. Let's move on. Sasha Banks is supposed to have a mystery partner against Charlotte and Dana Brooke. Now, Dana Brooke has been really impressing me. I,
On what planet?
Anytime she can shake the boobs
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
and the booty.
I don't know. I think she actually, she's got the look. She definitely has, the physique. She's got charisma. And her wrestling skills, yes, Billy, I will agree with you. They are green. But she's definitely moving up. And she's certainly better than Eva Marie. But the
She's
biggest...
Braun Strowman green. That's how green she is.
All right. Well,
Man, that's winter, right?
yeah.
I gotta say this. There's possibilities for Sasha's part to be people that's to be Sasha's partner.
Exactly.
And it took there's a lot of people saying Bailey, a lot of people are jokingly saying Karma, which is not going to happen.
No.
My thing, you know what? I'm going to look at three people. One, yes, Bailey is one of them. The second one, I'm going to throw it out there. It could be Nia Jax. But I think, and this is my opinion, even though they had a little feud, but they're going to squash it to just push her, I can actually see Naomi come back with a new gimmick.
Well, you know what? Yeah, because she has been out on injury, and you actually made a very interesting point. Because I thought it was going to be Bailey. I'm like, oh, maybe they're trying to pull her up. There've been rumors that she wasn't, and that if they do bring her up, it's going to be sometime in September after SummerSlam. But you know what? Naomi, I think, would be the good fit. She's been talking that she's on the mend and she's ready to come back. And the Feel the Glow, which is her new gimmick, which I'm really hoping it's going to be as theatrical as I would hope would be. Billy, your thoughts. Who do you think the mystery partner is going to be?
Well, I can pretty much just dispel the entire rumor of Bailey being a partner due to the fact that on NXT she's getting a push towards the women's championship once again with Asuka, and when those two collide again for the NXT Women's Championship, if we get any indication as to what this match is going to be like from their last encounter, which was absolutely amazing, then we could only expect a great things to come out of that match. So they're going to have Bailey tied up with the NXT Women's Championship push with Asuka. So there's no way that they can use her for that. Now, if it's Naomi, I don't know. I've never really been impressed with Naomi. She's she was the better Funkadactyl out of her and Cameron. I will give her that, but that's not saying much. But if they want to bring her back and they want to use her in a different gimmick, it all depends on how they use her. And if they use her properly, then I might say yes. Now, if it's Nia Jax, that's the one I've been leading towards most. I mean, considering the fact that she's just been called up, and to me, it would kind of fit. But you know what would be a really off the wall shocker surprise partner that they could use? Think about the one person that Dana Brooke and Emma have had a problem with the most in NXT. That person happens to be the NXT Women's Champion, Asuka. If WWE wants to throw a major curveball and a major shock to everybody out there, they can, for a one-time thing right now, bring up Asuka into that match and just have Dana freak the hell out.
I gotta say, I disagree with that. Reason
Yeah.
being is, right after this match, all four individuals are gonna split to do wars. They're gonna feud. So Sasha is going after Charlotte, and I predict Sasha's gonna win the World Women's title at SummerSlam. Whoever her partner is, and again, I'm leaning more of Naomi. She's just gonna feud with Dana Brooke, and they're gonna complement each other because regardless, Billy, I think out of, like you said, out of Funkadactyls, yes, she was pretty much the better worker. Even by watching her during the Team Bad gimmick, she was the better worker. You had Sasha, who was good, but Naomi was also equally good. I think the only problem with Naomi is she needs just to work on the promo skills. Once you can get the promo skills set, she's done. There's another person we can look at too, and if you want to, that's a long shot, Rick. And I'm sorry to take this over a little bit, but if you wanted to match muscle with muscle, then you got to say Tamina. But I think I'm sticking to Naomi.
Yeah, Tamina, for me, that would be a bad idea. Moving along, we have the New Day versus the Wyatt family. Now, over the past few weeks, we've been seeing New Day kind of creeping Xavier Woods out. I thought after they had that compound match, which is very similar to TNA's Hardy versus Hardy match, but we're not going to talk about that one.
But it was done better.
Yeah, it was done
Yep.
better. And I really think this is where it's going to be the breaking point for Xavier Woods. He's either going to go completely rogue and go heel. I'm not saying join the Wyatts, but just completely lose his mind, or it's going to prove that quote unquote the power of positivity is is the better end of the day. Billy, your thoughts?
This is the last match you're going to see with Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan, and Bray Wyatt as a stable unit. With the fact that Braun Strowman, or as I called him on the SmackDown video, and Lance, you know what I said about him, I called him Braun Greenback because of how green Braun Strowman really is. So
Yeah.
I really don't see him going far anytime soon. Now, will they put the Wyatt family over on the tag team champions? I don't think so. I don't think that's happening. And to me, it's a sad thing because Bray Wyatt has had such a huge hype on his return, and only to have it overshadowed and basically be kind of buried in a sense by the New Day. And not only that, but now the New Day has their own cereal out there.
Oh yeah, Bootios, but
And I like the New Day, but I think the cereal is a bit much.
well, before we go anywhere, you know what Bootios is supposed to be, right?
Yes, I know you've said it many.
Assholes.
Yes.
Moving on. Um, we have Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Now, guys, we know that these two have wrestled all around the world as tag teams, as opponents, friends, enemies, and even over in NXT, they had some incredible matches. They've had some incredible matches while being on the main roster, but for me, guys, enough is a fucking enough. Who's gonna win? It's a coin tosser. I'll just be glad when it's over, Joe.
Absolutely. You know what? I like both workers. They're good workers, solid workers. But this is, as you said, enough is enough. It's I can't keep seeing these two guys continue. This whole pay per view is nothing but matches we've seen already 1,000 times. And Rick, going back to the New Day, I did call it when they was gonna do Xavier's gonna be afraid of the Wyatts, but yeah, again, yeah, I like these two guys. I like Kevin Owens, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think Kevin Owens is gonna lose this one. I think Sammy's gonna get the big push in this one, and hopefully that'll be it. And we don't see them hit with each other again.
Now let's move on to, I guess you could call it the sub-main event, or these. It's John Cena versus Enzo and Cass versus the Club, which is AJ Styles, Kyle Anderson, and Drew Galloway.
Luke
Or
Gallows.
Luke Gallows. Thank you. Shows how much I am with it today. Um, so now this is pretty much two feuds in one, and it's mostly AJ and John Cena's kind of the focus because AJ got the heel win over Cena, and my thought was before the split is that AJ was gonna wind up pinning Cena through some kind of a heel, or even somebody else was gonna get the win, so that way AJ could have the bragging rights of that. Hey, you know what? Cena never beat me. He never pinned me. Um, with the split the way it's going, you gotta wonder again if they're more gonna focus on the big Cass and Enzo, while Cena and AJ are just pretty much the focus. Joe, your thoughts?
You know, again, I like Big Cass. I think Cass has on his own can make a bigger difference. He reminds me of a young Sid Vicious. He can, if they push him correctly, break him away from Enzo, he has a positive future. And guys, we've talked about this on the during the brand split. While SmackDown's got the workers, the you could say the flip flop guys, the spot monkeys. The Raw, should I say WWE Raw has the muscle guys, the Strowmans, the Casses, the Brocks. I think what they're gonna have to do is break these two apart, push Enzo, push Big Cass forward, and pretty much let this be said and done. I think if I was booking this and knowing that AJ's going to SmackDown, I would have AJ lose this match, have the club turn on him, and that'll give AJ a send off on pretty much SmackDown. Now he can go on a fresh, clean course and maybe turn into a baby face.
I can summarize what you just said, Joe, in two words: Balor Club.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, yes, obviously Finn Balor's coming up to Raw. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
both Gallows and Anderson they're saying that. But here's the thing: I don't see him going going babyface just yet because John Cena will also be on SmackDown. So this is part of the rubber band match. So they're probably gonna have another match at SummerSlam where it's gonna be AJ is not gonna have the club to back him up. And either Cena's going to pay it forward and let AJ get the win, which I don't think, but Cena's going to wind up winning this one. As far as the forward match, there's going to be in the third match. Make no mistake, gentlemen. And let's move on to the main event. We have Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. Lance, we know that Roman Reigns is pretty much just coming off of suspension. So, is it fair to say that he's not going to be walking out with the title?
It is highly unlikely he's going to win.
If only I had that sound effect I used on you on the video, Lance.
Well,
I mean, it is highly unlikely he's going to win because he got high, because he got high, because he got high. And honestly, I want Dean to keep the belt, but I kind of see Seth getting it.
let me get my opinion on that. I think Ambrose, honestly, he's going to retain. You know, he is over the most as a fans. Roman Reigns is right now kind of like teeter-tottering, and Seth Rollins is a great heel. Do I see them both getting titles on the line? Absolutely. But here's one thing, guys. I think a lot of people have forgotten. I guess they forgot about the what I call was the Seth selfie, where he kind of was flashing his junk and went all over the internet. And what happens? A week later, he gets the title. Now, so
we've all been trying to forget that.
Yes, but the point is that even though Roman Reigns is coming off of a suspension, they've been really pushing the suspension. So, Joe, is it a possibility that maybe they're doing that push so he can walk out with the title, so fans will maybe finally get him over as a heel?
No, I think Roman already had his time in the light. I think it's done already. Let's face it, guys. You know, he wasn't well liked. He wasn't really interesting. Fans just could not get behind this guy. They even tried putting him with the Usos, and you saw how well that went. It just didn't click. So how I see this happening is there's two possibilities. Pretty much either Seth regains it, which would be a bad move, or you know what, not really of a bad move, because if they have Seth win, that means the WWE title stays on Raw, because they haven't decided how they're going to do Raw the titles yet. Correct, Rick?
That's correct. Right now, it's kind of like up in the air. All the titles right now are all up in the air because we have tag team titles, tag teams on both sides. We have women or divas on both sides, and there's a lot of titles to float around, including in the male roster. But
My pick is, the way I look at it is, it's gonna go to. I think they're gonna keep it on Dean Ambrose, because the way I'm seeing Raw and SmackDown split up, I think that what's gonna happen is Raw is gonna become promote that group with the world title, the U.S. title, and the women's title, and SmackDown is, SmackDown is going to become the group that has the WWE title, the Intercontinental title, and whatever else belt. They're going to switch it around, because every time they did a brand split, Raw always kept the WWE title and the IC belt. Now it's reversed. So I can actually see Dean walk away with it, go back to SmackDown, and possibly Triple H coming back like they did to him before, and give Seth Rollins the world belt just for him to have it.
you know what? I can't. I don't buy that at all. I think that's really would not work. As we said with Ambrose, for me, it makes sense. And as far as,
Can I expand on that?
sure, go ahead.
One of the reasons why I personally don't see a title change happening with this match is based on the fact that I think a lot of fans wanted to see this happen at SummerSlam. I think a lot of people would think that this match would have had more meaning. If you think about it, it's not only just for the WWE Championship. By the way, it's something I did bring up on one of my last videos. Rick, have you noticed that they've changed it from WWE World Heavyweight Championship to WWE Championship? I wonder if anybody else caught on that.
Well, that was a matter of time. Now, I really hope that they do not bring these extra titles back in. We know there's more we know there's more pay-per-views. There's going to be exclusive Raw, exclusive SmackDown pay-per-views, and you got to wonder if maybe they're doing this intentionally. We're going to have these titles flip-flop, and maybe on Raw we might see an IC title and a Divas title, and then maybe on SmackDown see a US title and then a tag team title. As far as the world title, I think that should float back and forth. I think that's why. I think this is why they have those general managers coming in, because you'll be sitting there negotiating, talking, and saying, "All right, fine. You have Dean Ambrose for the title. Well, I think this guy deserves a shot, so I'm going to have a number one contendership. See who wins, and vice versa." And I think that's how the title should go. That's just my call.
Yeah, but the way the people are looking at this match, they're not looking beyond what the title. They're just looking at it as a WWE triple threat match for the WWE Championship. They're not looking at what is also involved in this match, and the fact that you're taking one of the most popular factions of recent times in WWE, and it's up to debate. But it's hard to argue with the fact that the Shield was one of the best factions in WWE in the past 5 years, and the fact that all three members of the Shield, once a great faction, are now in a triple threat match for the championship title. I think a lot of people are not seeing that fact and not seeing the implications of that fact.
I disagree, because it's been talk saying this is a Shield triple threat. They've been promoting it as such. So to say you don't see it that way, either you don't watch wrestling or you're not paying attention, because that's exactly what they've been promoting. That's what they've been pushing for the past couple of months. They did it in Money in the Bank. They were kind of hinting. So when when Seth beat Roman Reigns and then Dean Ambrose cashed in. This is the whole thing. That's what this is about. This is another Shield story, but not as friends, but as foes. So I'm going to disagree with you.
But something will happen, though. The way I see it, something will happen where it's going to be another dirty finish. There will be no conclusion to the match, and there will be this will be WWE's way to prolong the feud and extend it to SummerSlam and have that be the main event of SummerSlam. I think that's a main event. I think a lot of people have been wanting, even ever since the whole breakup of the Shield happened. At one point, they wanted to see the Shield in the main event of one of the big four, and it's for the title.
Well, again, I think we all have opinions. In this case, we're going to agree to disagree. But we're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio for our Battleground picks for 2016. I am your hardcore host. Please take a few seconds and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow us over at youtube.com/hardcore wrestling /HWR show. I'm fucking up all over the place tonight. But if you want to join in the conversation, you want to say what you want to say, we'll look for those passionate wrestlers who don't give a shit. Come on over to the Facebook and the group sections under the name HWR Chat Room. And I'd love to thanks the Hardcore crew for coming on the show. First, he's a classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight.
Yeah, well, Rick, I appreciate having me on the show. The fans can follow me on Twitter at JKnightCWA. They can also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com Joseph Knight Manager, and also in my group, which is facebook.com groups. DK Retro. Also, I'm working right now. We're getting everything reset to get the CWA back in September, and that you can follow us on Facebook.com Classic Wrestling Association, Facebook.com Classic Wrestling Association. Tonight, Rick, at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing a live DK Retro /HWR. There's many topics to talk about. Plus, I'm going to be having a special guest on there.
Well, we look forward to it. And then Billy, you over at WGS TV. Tell everybody about it.
Yep, it's basically my channel, with my own wrestling discussions, views, and opinions. And coming very soon, I will be opening a second channel. If you want to know what I'm going to be doing with that second channel, the only way you can find out is be tuning into youtube.com/WrestleGamer, and also check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/WGSTV.
And then we have the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, you're over at youtube.com/Lance Moss TV. You got a Wednesday night group, but you know what? What else have you got going on over there?
Well, I've got a guitar build series currently. It will be up. It's up every Wednesday. I mean, every Friday at around lunchtime, about 12:30 Central. It's about 1:30 Eastern. I got album reviews, some musical equipment reviews, and some rants. Aside from the live show at about 6 Central every week.
And with that, for the Hardcore Crew, I am your Hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Rick, Rick, I need to tell you a